Hi, welcome back. In the previous episode, I believe I started tearing down the inside of the car, got the seats out, started grinding away some of the tar and stuff like that. Today, in this episode, basically, I'm going to start doing some rust repairs along the windshield, where the cowl is, and so forth. They always rust in there, and if you saw in the previous video where I took the gauges out, there was a big rust hole behind there, so I'm gathering there's a lot more in there. So in this video here, I got rust repairs to do. So let's get started. Just moving forward, guys, ended up removing the roof liner. I left it in there while I was grinding all this off, because I didn't want all the fine dust and so forth to get inside the channels. We've got a little bit of rust up there, but it's just surface rust, it's not that bad. And there seems to be, I'm not sure if that's being plugged because I haven't removed it yet, but that's from that spot there, so it's a nice little circle around there, so I'm guessing maybe there was a hole and someone has tried to plug it up, but once I scrape all that stuff off, I'll find out once I get to there. But for now, moving forward here, I'm going to start cleaning this up along here and remove this piece, so I can get to the rust that's up underneath there. So let's get started. So guys, just went around cleaning up where all the spot welds are. So cleaned all along there, all the spot welds. So we'll start drilling and start removing some of them. So I just went around a couple of them just with a centre punch, just right in the middle, and then just go around with your spot piece drill. Better to go a little bit slower. You can always add a little bit more instead of accidentally drilling right through, because then it's just harder to plug up. So I actually like using an old chisel for this sort of thing. You can pick up a cheap one or whatever, or most people have got plenty of old ones, and it just works out really great because it's sharp at the end and it gets in. If there's any small bit of metal left behind, it just cuts right through it. So so guys, just moving forward, drilled out all the spot welds all along there and all along there. What I'm going to do next, I've just marked here, I'm just going to cut this section out here, which means it'll be easy to weld back up again and I can grind it smooth, because trying to unpick all this and so forth will just be a nightmare, and I can do the repairs. There's a couple of holes there and there and a couple on the other side too, so I'll cut that out. And so managed to get them all out. I forgot about these two just here, and what you do is just drill them out and just tap it in through there and just separate it. So There we go. Well, at least there's no animals living in here. So that's the rust we saw before behind the gauges. So it's actually not that, it doesn't look that bad. I mean, I'll get this fixed up, and there's another piece over there. But as for the rest of it, I would have to say it's pretty. Oh, we've got some more here to it. So, but they're simple. They're basic repairs. You got to be willing to do them. So, anyway, I'll get this cleaned out, and we'll start moving forward. Just vacuumed all the crap out, just run over it quickly with the wire wheel and so forth. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a degreaser now, and then I'm going to just put some rust stuff on it just to stop the rust before I keep moving forward. I'll do it again later on, but I've got the chance now to do it. So that's why I wasn't too worried about getting the undercoat off on the floor, because that's still going to have to go over, because I knew I'd have to wet this down. So I'll probably get a little bit of surface rust down in there, but so I've let that sit for about 10 minutes now, so I'll just hose that off. I'm lucky I've got hot water outside on the side of the garage, so it just helps to dry quicker. So I'll just let that drain out a bit, and then after that get a rag and pick up the rest of the water. Maybe get the heat gun on it to speed up the process, just to dry it out, and then we'll hit it with some rust killer, and then we'll start patching it up from there. So, and basically just I'm sure you've all used this before, deoxy it, and that's mixed with water anyway. I normally just do a 50-50 mix. Spray it on. Just work it in a bit. I'm not too fussed. This is just step one. Once I repair all the rust and all that, I'll do it again and then seal it. So we'll leave that for about 10-15 minutes, and then we'll just hose it off, and then we'll keep moving forward. So it's been about 10 minutes now, so we'll just hose it off. We'll have to do it again because it didn't take all of it off. It should come back to this metal. So, but like I said, it's only just stage one, just to kill it off and so forth, and give me a chance to repair and then do it again and then seal it. So, hi guys, welcome back. Just started to do some rust repair here. So I've just bent this section here and just tack welded that in a few spots, and then basically what I'm going to do is, I can't do it all in one piece, so I'm going to do it in a couple of pieces. So I'll have this piece here come over like that, because this is pretty much flat here as it comes up to there. So I'll get something like that, and then basically what I can do is cut along that line as I'm putting this piece in and join it up. So I've just finished cutting out that piece there. I've left it a little bit bigger because there's a little bit of rust here, and that will fit in there like that. And then what I can do is just tack it here and here, and then I'll just cut along here, and then I'll join the two pieces together, and that should work out pretty good. So I've got this tacked in, so at least I've got 1 and 2 done, and then I've just got to do some fillers in here, but at least the main part's done. So I'll keep moving forward, fill up these ones and start moving along. So guys, just done a couple of patches here. That one started on this one, fixed up a couple on the side here, and just starting on this one here. So just cut out a piece of cardboard to the size you want, then go cut it out of the metal and cut it out and start welding it back in again. Pretty much what I like to do is just tack weld in a few spots, then start another one, and then basically while I'm tacking that one, letting it cool, I'll go back to here and then back and forth, so you're not just standing around waiting for one piece to be done. So anyway, that's the way I like to do it. So I'll cut this piece out and we'll start getting it welded in. Okay guys, just cut the piece out here. I'm going to do this section here. I'm going to do this in 3 pieces because this is pretty much flat. That's got a bit of a bulge in it, and this is flat here too. So trying to do it all in one piece, I just can't make it. So I'll make this one first to go in there, and then I'll make this piece and then continue on through there. So basically I normally just line it up to where I want it, and basically I'll just tack it here just for now, and then I'll just start running the grinder around and tack as I'm grinding away. I just cut that one first because I might have trouble getting in with the grinder later, so just get that out of the way. Just get that to hold there. Now basically I'll just cut underneath, just so I can start, so I can push this piece in, and then I'll just keep going along. So at the moment I've got it holding on the outside. Just push that in there to start, and then I'll weld here, tack it, and then just keep cutting, tacking, cutting, tacking, and then just get the piece at the back will just fall out. So this piece is right here now, and I'll just keep cutting along with the grinder underneath and keep tacking along and just work my way all the way around. So I've got this part done, this part, and down the bottom, and now I'll start cutting up here. Just one thing, make sure the piece at the back that's rusted out, you don't actually weld onto that and then you can't get it out. So make sure the piece at the back's nice and loose from underneath. And just bend it away from this piece so you don't accidentally tack it and then you can't get it out. I'm not going to weld here because I've got nothing to weld to. I'll leave that piece there. I'll do the top here, just tack it in place. Then I'll make this piece and tack that onto here and just keep moving. And that's a piece from the back. Like I said, a bit of wire just held it. That's what I mean. You can accidentally weld this to the new piece, so you don't want to do that. I'm not trying to do the whole piece in one shot. Like I said, that's tacked in there now. I'll just put a couple more tacks in and then I'll move on to this piece, and while I'm tacking this I can go put a few more tacks in here and you get less heat that way. And now this piece here where it's still sticking the original, you cut that right off now. Just had the old piece stuck in there, so got rid of that. and that's pretty much it. I've got a small piece here I've got to fill, but that's pretty much it. It's all flush. So just made this piece up here to fit in there. So I've left it a little bit longer. I can just grind that down after. So let's get started and get this piece in. So that's pretty much it. Next one I'll join it onto here, and I've got to put just a small filler in here, which would be pretty easy to do. So we've got 1, 2 done, and we'll move on to the third one. So just cut this one out. Next piece, I'm going to join it onto here like that. So just get that tacked. and that's a piece there. So there we go, we're pretty much done there. I'll just finish welding it all in. So guys, just finished patching this up. That's pretty much it. Just give it a clean now, grind the welds off, and then we'll move forward on the other side. Hi guys, welcome back. Finished cutting all the rust out and repairing that, but found a few pinholes and so forth when ended up removing this installation shit here, which showed me there. So basically is just ended up patching it up with a little bit of fiberglass bog. I don't like using the normal one for areas that I know is going to get wet, so I've just gave it a light scuff with some 320, and I'll just give it another coat of paint, and that should be pretty much it for that. And any of these little tiny holes here, I'll patch them up on this side here with a bit of bog later on. No one's going to see it anyway, but at least I know the holes are filled. And just getting ready to put the second coat on now to finish it off. With this rust paint stuff, just buy yourself a bunch of disposable brushes, because you can only use them once. For areas like this, I prefer to do it by paintbrush rather than a spray gun. If I'm doing like the whole floor or whatever, yeah, I'll get the spray gun out, but for little areas like this, you get a lot more paint on with the paintbrush, and it only takes like 10 minutes, so. And no one's going to see it anyway, but you know it's sealed and I'm just finished giving it the second coat, so it's been about 24 hours now, so that's all done and dried. So I'll be moving on to the other piece now that goes over the top. That's got a few rust holes in it, so I'll get started on that. So ended up stripping all the paint off this one and deoxidise it. So killed all the surface rust. There's still a bit of rust behind, but that rust now is dead at the moment. But you've got to get this white film off here. That's from the rust that's left behind. And wear gloves when you do it, because it will start, eating away your skin and that. So I'll just wipe it all down with some wax and grease remover. And there's a few small rust holes that need to be patched up before it gets painted. And make sure you get all the white film off from the acid, because otherwise the paint and that won't stick to it. Hi guys, welcome back. Just going to do some more rust repairs on the UC here. I haven't touched it in a while, so I'll just give you an update to where I was. Also, I'm going to start closing this section up and have it finished. That's the other piece, done the underside of it. The outside's bare metal, but as you can see I treated it with rust, and this I'm going to get that into position and start tacking it in. So I almost forgot guys, I just ran a bead of sticker plex around here just to get a bit more height, let the water run through here, whatever comes in, because that's where it will always come into the inside the car. Ready to put this in. Just a little tip, what I like to do is this edge here where you're going to spot weld back in again. I like to bend it up a little bit because it just makes it easier to tap it down than trying to get a screwdriver in and lift it back up again. So all this sort of stuff, just lift it up slightly, and as you're welding it'll heat up, and then you can just tap it down and get it to squeeze and get a nice tight fit. So I'm going to get this in and start tacking away. Get this back in. And make sure you try to line it up with whatever guidelines you left before, so where to start from, and just take your time and go nice and slow. So guys, I'm going to start off here. I'm going to line this up. I've already lined it up here to my drill holes. I'm going to start from here so I can actually lift this up slightly and get this lined up. And once you got this edge lined up, then you know you're pretty much going in the right direction. So we'll just tack this. And this is why I want to start from this end here, because I can still get a screwdriver and lift this up. It's easier to tap it down. If you do all of this, you'll never get in here afterwards. So I'll go do the other side now and get that in line. Same process as this. Just a tip guys, when you got to fill in a gap there and it's bigger than your wire, if you try to weld you're just going to keep blowing up each side. Just grab a small piece of wire, jam it in there, tack it in, cut it off where you think you need it. And then basically tap it down inside. And therefore when you go to weld now, you got plenty of material left to grind, to flatten it out. This doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to get covered anyway, but you still want to get it the best you can. So and that way when you weld you're not blowing a hole out. So and there you go. And when you're doing along here is basically do a little bit of weld, the metal will heat up, and then all you got to do is basically just tap it down slightly. And just do small sections at a time, but you'll see the gap will start closing, and then you can do a bead weld and not keep blowing it out. Just do about 10-15 mil of weld. All this here will heat up, and that's why I said leave this up, because then what you do is just come back and it's nice and soft like butter. Just tap it down. And then you just keep going. Like I said, just do small sections. You don't have to do the whole weld in one shot. Give the metal a chance to cool down. And like I said, just keep getting softer. So guys, got all this welded in here. Just ran over it quickly with the grinder. Still got to go do a bit more, but I'm not too fussed with that. I'll fill that up later. But this piece has been joined in. And the same thing with the other side. So now all this will stay where it is. Just have to move maybe one or two up just slightly. But I can still move this. And we'll get all this tacked in. So guys, just going to start welding in these. Basically what I'm going to do is start in the middle. Just 1, 2, and then just keep working my way out until all of them are filled up. And just keep going. As you're working out, each one you clamp, just go around it with a screwdriver and then just give it a tap. Just so you make sure that they're both butted together. Just the same here again, just a light tap. So guys, just cleaning up some of the welds here. The way I like to do it is first put on a cutting disc. This one's about 3mm or so. And what you do there is you just run it down the side. You're actually taking 90% of the weld off. But don't try to get it perfect at this stage. Just get the bulk off and then come back with it with a sandpapering disc and take that off. So just run it down like this. And pretty much you got 90% of it gone, and then when you're coming back, you're doing, the less grinding you do, the better. So that's the one I just did. And that's what it normally looks like. So you can see how much you take off it, and it's actually not even that hot. You can keep your finger on there. Like I said, the less heat you put in with the grinder, the better. Now with these ones here, there's 90% gone. Just come back with the floppy and clean it up and you're done. So, hi guys, welcome back. I ran out of time yesterday, so I started cleaning up a little bit of it today. So got it all back down to bare metal the best I can, all around there. I'm going to go up to about here and so forth. I've still got a couple of holes to fill. I'm not going to try to weld them, because as soon as I do, I'm just going to blow this whole section out. So what I want to do now is just kill off any surface rust that may have been left behind, get it back to this finish. And then I'll fill these once I know it's all the rust is being killed off, and then give it a coat of paint and seal it all off. So basically what I've got here is just water and vinegar. Just spray it on. just work it in. Good thing about this is it will get everywhere, even places that you may not be able to get paint to. This will still work its way through. As you can see, it's only been like about 2 minutes and it's already starting to discolour. That means it's killing off anything that was there. So at least you know it's working. So I'm going to let this sit for about 4 or 5 minutes and then we'll wash it all down and get rid of all the vinegar, because if you leave it on there it will keep eating away the metal. So guys, it's been about 5 minutes and as you can see it's already starting to colour up. This will all come off anyway, most of it, as you can see. So we know it's working, and like I said, it's not going to do any harm. I ran over that while I had the vinegar out. So I got a nice pair of pink gloves and I'm going to start washing it down now. I've actually got I'm quite fortunate, I've actually got hot water outside, just to help it dry off a bit quicker. But you can use cold water, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you give it a really good rub. You've got to get all the vinegar off. So we've washed it all down. I'm going to let this sit for a little while, and then what I'm going to do is just run over it again just to make sure that I've removed all the vinegar, because if you leave it, it's going to keep working, and if you leave it behind and you put your paint on, it's still going to keep working underneath. So you got to make sure you wash the vinegar off really well. So, but any little bits of rust or whatever, even if you can't really see it, this stuff will kill it all off. So I'm going to let this dry off, hit it one more time, and then pretty much get ready for paint. Hi guys, welcome back. It's been about 3 days since I painted this. Just going to show you now how I fixed up the small little pinholes and so forth. So I'll bring you in and give you a look. So this is the way I do it for myself. Other people can do it their way. When it comes to stuff like this, basically is what happens is you try to weld it and you're just going to blow it right out. By the time you finish, you're going to be all the way up in here. If you want to make this whole new piece again, go right ahead. What I've done is I've killed the rust and I've painted it first. I've just ran over it with some steel wool just to take the shine off, like so. and then I'll be using some filler to fill that in, but it's not bulk or anything like that. I'll show you what I'm going to use. So guys, the stuff I use, that I've been using now for probably 12, 14 years or so forth, is I'm going to use some JB Weld. I find it, for what I'm going to do with it, with fill in those little pinholes and so forth, the good thing about this is it doesn't matter if it gets wet or oil or anything like that. It really doesn't matter, because it will stay exactly the way it is. You use bog, fiberglass and so forth. Fiberglass is messy. This is really easy. You just mix up a little piece, brush it on, fill in the area, come back, easy to sand, paint over the top of it. So I'm going to mix some of this up and we're going to get it on those holes. So I'll get this mixed up. And just lay it in there. It's really easy to apply. You can get it all in the nooks and crannies and so forth. It goes on really easy. And because it's so soft, it actually pushes through the hole, makes a bit of a ball on the inside as well where you can't get to. Build it up on the outside and then just let it settle. So by the time you sand it down, you've still got plenty of material there. And once you've got it roughly in, you can just use a small paintbrush just to smooth it out and level it a bit. That's why I like using this stuff, it's so easy to apply. Get that leveled out. So I've got that filled in. The only problem is with the stuff you can get the fast setting one, but I like this one. I'm not in a hurry. Let that dry off. Sometimes it takes about 12 hours or so, but I prefer to use this one. Kill your rust off first, then paint it, then apply this stuff, sand it back, then paint over the top of it again, so you've made a sandwich. Like I said, I've been using this stuff now for, I've been using it for 20 plus years, but on cars and that, probably for the last 12 to 14 years, any little things like this, I prefer to use this stuff, because it goes on easy, it's easy to sand off, and the good thing is this isn't affected by moisture. If you go to use bulk and so forth and whatever, as soon as moisture works its way in, that bulk's going to peel off. So anyway, this is the way I'm doing it. So yeah. So guys, just finished off. Just put a thin paintbrush layer of it just wherever I welded, because there could be some tiny pinholes, and being that this is the windshield, you know it's going to rust if there's any holes or anything. So I'm going to let this dry off, and then once that's dried off, I'll give it a light sand. There's only a really thin coat on there, so yeah, even with steel wool, after you can get it off, it's pretty easy to sand. So Anyway, I'm going to let that dry off, find something else to do, and I'll bring this back when I'm ready to sand it. Hi guys, welcome back. It's been 24 hours. I just quickly finished sanding all this. I wasn't going to film someone sanding. No one wants to watch that. So I've just sanded it. This is not finished. All I wanted to do was fill up the tiny little pinholes and so forth. So there's no actual body work that I've done yet. So I painted it. Filled in all the little small rust holes. Now I'm going to paint it over again and seal it. So that's all I've done at the moment. It's not body work or anything like that. Basically what I'm going to do now is give it another coat of paint so it gets sandwiched. Then I'll go over it with an epoxy, and then I'll start doing some body work over the top of that. At least I know all the rust and that is dead and sealed, and I can keep moving forward. Hi guys, welcome back. Just an update on where I'm up to. So basically so guys, ended up hitting it with epoxy, and now I'm doing me main body work on it. Just a little bit here and there. There was some lead in here, so I just, when I wheeled it off, that went, so I just need a little bit of bog in there. Probably the most of the bog is probably just in here, because I just like to fill this channel up so the water doesn't sit in here. And as you can see, I just need a little bit more in a couple of spots, but at least this way, when the water runs down, it will run into here, and it's got nowhere to sit, so it'll just flow straight over. It's just something I like to do on these Holdens, because otherwise you get water sitting in here and it gets back underneath where you've welded it, and it starts rusting out again. So anyway, I'm going to do a little bit more filler, and then I'll bring this back when I'm ready to seal it with epoxy again. So guys, I've finished all my filler work and so forth, so now all I'm going to do is just hit it with some 2K epoxy, just in the areas that I've worked in. So you don't have to do the whole lot, just where you've worked. I've just hit it just where I've done some work, let that take off a bit, and then I'll just give it one more coat and basically finish off this section. So guys, ended up getting another section done. So I got all the cowl done, got it painted. It's pretty much all finished. It just needs its final paint. Not ready to do, nowhere near ready to do that. Still plenty of other rust repairs to do. So I guess I'll leave it at that for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for the next one. Cheers.